Wait a second. Did you take your vitamins? No. What? Okay, one second. Don't worry. I have some more. Here. Serving size is 2. Take them. You got them? Okay. Perfect. Now we can get started. Don't worry, I already took mine in the morning. But hello. My name is Esteban. It's nice to meet you. Or if you're Hispanic, me llamo Esteban. Mucho gusto. Today I'm going to be talking about my experience living alone in 2020 in the middle of a pandemic and why it's not really as great as it sounds. Before I go any further though, I just want to say how fortunate I am to live alone in the first place and how I have a roof over my head and shelter, because not many people in this world currently do, especially with the catastrophic events of the climate apocalypse. It's very scary to be alive right now. Like at the time of recording this video, Hurricane Eta has already ravaged many parts of Central America, including Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and it really hurts my heart. So I think it would be extremely insensitive of me to talk about my own experience of living alone without providing at least some sort of support for people affected. So I'm gonna leave a few links down in the description about where you can learn more information and possibly donate if you have the financial means to do so. But yeah, let's get started. I currently live alone, like the title of the video says. Right now, I'm currently a college student in Boston, and I live in on-campus housing. Yeah, my school, thankfully enough, allowed us the option to decide if we wanted to come back to campus for this semester or if we wanted to take classes from home. I'm so thankful that I go to a school where they gave us the option to come back to campus, because I know for sure that my academics would have suffered if I was still living at home. So I'm currently living in the same apartment that I was living in last year, in junior year. And I remember the move-in day when I was getting my keys and stuff, the dude who handed me the key was telling me, "Oh, I used to live there. That's literally like the biggest room, the biggest apartment that my school provides." And I was like, whoa, really? That's awesome. And so I went to check it out, and sure enough, it was so big. But last year, the apartment was a triple, so it was for 3 people. And now, because my school is implementing all of these changes to help limit the spread of coronavirus, which they should be doing, they turned this space I'm in from a triple into a double, which I don't really see why they needed to do that. This apartment is very big as it is, and it also has 2 bathrooms, so I don't know, but that's what we're going with. So technically this room is a double. It's meant for 2 people. And like I said, everybody has the choice to come back to campus or not at my university. And I guess the person that was assigned to this room with me decided to take their classes from home this semester. So that's how I'm all alone. It's supposed to be a double, but it's a single now. So that brings us here. I now live alone in the middle of a pandemic. And frankly, I tried making a list of pros and cons, and there's just more cons than there are pros, at least in my own opinion. So I'm gonna go through the pros first, the things I like about living alone, and then talk about all the things I don't like. The first thing I like about living here is that I live rent free. Because most of my school is funded through scholarships and like federal aid, I don't have to pay that much money, and most of my housing fees are basically paid for. So I don't pay rent, don't pay utilities, don't pay internet, don't pay nothing. I'm just existing and vibing. And like I said, I'm extremely fortunate to be in this situation where I can live alone, rent-free. How many people can say that in 2020? It's extremely grateful, and I do not take it for granted for a second. That's the first thing I like about living alone. I guess it's kind of exclusive to my own situation, but I'll count it. The second thing I like about living alone is just having freedom. With roommates, you have to accommodate for people's schedule and not be loud when they're sleeping. If they're in the shower and you need a shower, you have to wait for them. Just many things you have to plan and organize when you live with somebody else. And since I live by myself, I don't have to do any of that. Since I live alone, I have the freedom to do whatever I want. I can shower whenever I want, however many times I want. I don't have to wait on anybody to use the bathroom. I can walk around naked in my own house, which is such a blessing, to be honest. I don't know how you personally feel about nudity, but I'm comfortable in my body and I like looking at myself. I can spend like hours just looking at myself in the mirror, like completely naked and just dancing. But to be honest, those are all the pros that I can think of. At least in my own personal opinion. The cons list, don't even get me started. I mean, we're gonna get started, but don't even get me started. First thing about living alone that's not ideal, all of the cleaning you have to do by yourself. If I had roommates, maybe I could divvy up the work and somebody does dishes one day and I'll do them the other day. Somebody cleans the bathroom one day and I'll do it the other day. Now, I'm not particularly a dirty person. Like, I make my bed every day. I vacuum every now and then. I don't leave too many dishes in the sink. And this was how I used to live before COVID. But now that coronavirus is happening, I feel extra incentivized to be extra clean 24/7. It's just a lot of work for one person to do by themselves. If I had roommates, we could divvy up the work and we can make a schedule or something, or we could all clean together and just do little bits and pieces, and it would feel more manageable. And especially since I live in this really huge apartment, like I was talking about, there's just more square footage for me to clean by myself. It's not that ideal. Yeah, I think I'm just complaining and I'm not used to living alone, but I don't like all the cleaning I have to do. Another thing I don't like about living alone is how I'm truly isolated 24/7. Because I live in on-campus housing, we as students have to abide by all the rules and regulations set in place by our university, and one of them being we can't have guests in our apartments at all. And I understand where they're coming from, but it means that I'm alone all the time, like 24/7. The only time I get social interactions with people face to face is if I go to the gym, if I go to work, and like the few times I go out to get dinner with friends. That's it. Plus, I live in Boston, and it's about to become winter soon. So I don't really want to be going out and hanging out with friends outside pretty soon because it's going to be cold. And I'm not really going to do that. Maybe for introverts, this would be an ideal situation. You have a big space to yourself where you can be unbothered, unnoticed, and you can zen out, basically. I am an extroverted person, and that does not really work out with me all too well. I love social interactions. I love hanging out with people, and this is just one of the new normals that we have to come to terms with. And it's just so isolating. I can try and be alone by myself, but I don't prefer it. Like, I don't like it. I would not actively seek out to be alone most of the time. Third thing I don't like about living alone is just this constant state of paranoia that I live in. And this is twofold. COVID related and not COVID related. When it comes to COVID related, first of all, my phone has never been more okay, so like if your phone dry, that means nobody texts you at all and you don't get any notifications. Now my phone is wet, it's flooding, it's Niagara Falls with all the notifications I get from my school about COVID related things. They send me an email once a day to make sure that I fill out the survey we have to take every morning. And it's basically like a symptom screening survey to see like if we have any of the big symptoms such as fever, cough, chills, vomiting, loss of taste or smell, things like that. And then we also get text messages from our school saying, make sure to sign up for your next COVID test appointment, otherwise you will not be following our rules and guidelines and we'll put you on like the watch list basically. And I understand that they have to keep reminding students like this every day because people will forget. But at this point, I'm really considering just blocking their number. Like, do not contact me. I know the drill by now. It's like week 9, week 10 of the semester out of 15. So I know what to do. Stop harassing me. I get it. Can you say something else? Literally.
Can you come up with something else? Can you come up with something else?
And on top of that, we get emails from our school newspaper and they talk about how they're gonna put new restrictions on certain ways of college life to make sure that they're doing their best to limit the spread. And personally, it's just exhausting to have to get all of these notifications. I'm kind of immune to it and like I can zone it out pretty easily, but at the beginning it was honestly frightening thinking about COVID, especially back in March before our university kicked us out for the rest of the semester. Hearing about all the emails about COVID was very frightening. So that's my COVID related paranoia. And I also just have like other miscellaneous living alone paranoia. Because I live alone, I usually just talk out loud most of the time. Like I don't talk to myself, but I just say my thoughts out loud, if that makes sense. And also I play music out loud all the time. I really don't like a quiet house. I don't like silence like that. And sometimes, because I have the freedom to do whatever I want, where I can have my own schedule and not really worry about other people's schedule, at least in the same room, I'd be playing my music till like 3 a.m. And sometimes I'm worrying I'm being too distracted or I'm being too disruptive to the people that live above me. Fourth thing I don't like about living alone is cooking. Now, I am the youngest of 4 boys. So whenever my mom would make us food, she would always cook like she's feeding me and the goof troops. So I know how to cook, but I've never taken that idea of cooking for many people and cut it so that I can only cook for myself. Because I end up doing 2 things, one of 2 things. I either cook really large portion sizes that I end up eating for days on end, or I buy too many ingredients and I don't use all of them and then they go bad and I have to throw it away and then it's a waste of money. Like the other day, I made barbecue pork mac and cheese, which first of all, beautiful. But I was eating it for like 3 or 4 days. I was like, it's getting old by now. Not just because it's been sitting in the fridge for so long, but because I'm getting sick of the taste. It's like, I already made it and I don't want to waste the food, so I might as well just eat it. It's like, the thing is, if I had roommates, I wouldn't feel bad about cooking for a lot of people because I like cooking for other people. It's usually easier to cook for larger people as well. Honestly, maybe I'm just stupid.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
Maybe I don't know how to appropriately cook for myself, and I need to teach myself so that I stop wasting money on ingredients and I don't have to be eating the same thing for days on end. I'll get there eventually, okay? I'm just saying right now, it's personally a con because I haven't mastered the skills yet of being a true adult, you know? I'm only 21. I'm a transitional adult, you know? I'm taking the tutorial right now. Last thing on my list, number 5, things I don't like about living alone. Locking yourself out of your room. In this semester alone, I've already locked myself out 3 times. And a funny story happened on the 3rd time. It was on Halloween. And if you know me, you know that I don't really like Halloween. Not because I don't like the celebrations and the meaning behind it. No, I love all that stuff. I just personally have never had good days like on October 31st. For like my whole life, there's been multiple incidents where things have gone wrong. And just this year, Halloween 2020, I went out with 2 of my friends to this one bar and we was drinking. And it was fun. And when I come back, I try putting my key in the lock, and it's so cold outside that it doesn't even budge at all. And I'm fidgeting with it, trying to see if it'll work, and then BAM! It snaps, like the key snaps in the lock. And so I'm intoxicated right now. I just broke my key. I'm like, oh no, this is not about to be good. I started going into panic mode on the spot. I was like, oh no, what am I about to do? Am I gonna get into my room? So I called my RA and I asked what to do, because it's not like I can get the replacement key and get into my door. Like, there was literally half of my key stuck in the lock. So I called them and they came to look at the situation. They noticed I was like visibly intoxicated. I was noticeably drunk. So they called like our university police just on the case that I might needed to get, like just on the off chance that I needed to be transported to a hospital or something. And when this police officer came, they were just being very patronizing. I guess granted I wasn't like the most coherent. I was already not having like the best of days to begin with. So when the key broke in the lock, I was like, oh no, here's the cherry on my mess of a cake of tonight. And by the time the police actually showed up to my building, I was just in tears, like drunk, ugly tears. Looking back on it, it was kind of funny. But like in the moment, it was just like, oh no, he's definitely going through something. Like that's how it looked. And this police officer was being so patronizing because he just wasn't really communicating with me in like a very effective way. Like the way you should talk to somebody who's visibly breaking down. There was one point he was like, you got a phone full of contacts and you can't ask none of them to stay the night at their place because you clearly know that you can't get into your room tonight and you have to wait for the locksmith to come. And I wanted to tell him like, no, it's COVID times. I can't just hit up a friend and stay over at their place. If I could, I would have done that by now. Like, not just tonight, I would have done that days, weeks ago. I would have hit them up and be like, yo, let's chill. But I can't really do that because it's 2020 and we're in a pandemic. If only I had a roommate so that I wouldn't have to be crying in the middle of the night at the top of my lungs to some random police officer. Memories. That's my list. Before I go, I just want to reiterate again that I truly understand how fortunate and blessed and lucky I am to be in this situation to begin with. I know that many people would many people would love to be in the situation that I'm in right now. So I don't take it for granted. And at the end of the day, all the cons, they don't really outweigh the pros. Like, I'm thankful to have somewhere to live. And I am honestly thankful that I have time to myself. Especially in 2020, it feels like I'm relearning who it means to be me. And what I value, what I like, what I don't like. And where I'm meant to be. I'm truly grateful for this experience and this opportunity, even though it's not like the most ideal. I'm probably just being a whiny bee about it. All I know is, once this vaccine comes out, I can't wait to party out in the clubs again. I'm gonna have a rum and coke in one hand and a hookah pen in the other. And that is when you gonna find me at my most powerful. And I live by it. So yeah, that's all I got. Say goodbye, everyone. Bye. They don't have names. I need help naming them. I feel like he looks like an MJ. MJ the turtle. He looks zooted as heck. That'll be me in like 10 minutes. Hey, what's up? Alright, catch y'all later.